Welcome back to Pokemon Colosseum. Last time we did a bit of side stuff, basically. But this time we're actually going to be doing the urgent thing that's been going on, so let's head on to Mount Battle. Yeah, we let that Cypher attack wait for a little while, sorry about that, but it's time to head to Mount Battle, a place of challenging training for all trainers. But currently held by a sinister gang, like they say. I've probably said this before, but the motorbike is really cool. But yeah, here is Mount Battle. I love this panning shot you get to start out with. And we already have the Cypher attack music, so we know that nothing good can be going on here. Oh, there's a jogger here. Hi there. And he's running around out of stress, I guess. Use weird Pokemon, you say? Well, that sounds promising for us. Let's go in. We'll find out more about how this place is meant to work soon, but for now, we have a healing machine right here. We have this guy. Yeah, we've heard about Vander before. And it seems like even though Cypher's taken over, this place still works the way it usually does. But this guy actually serves a pretty useful purpose. This guy is the move deleter. In this generation, I actually forget if you need this guy to delete HM moves like Surf, not that you'd want to, because you can't ever get them back because there are no HMs. Anyway, this is the coupon exchange counter. We won't be able to do anything with that at this point, but you might have noticed a Poker Coupons section in our P-Star DA. That's what those are for, but like I said, we can't do anything about that now. Gonna go ahead and save for now. It's not really all that important just yet. It's gonna become important once we reach the end of this area. The weird thing is, they were talking about getting straight wins here. That's not all that important. Oh, you must be here to save us. It's kind of funny. Yes, your savior has arrived. Oh, don't worry, we're pretty much used to it by now, so let's head on in. Unfortunately, we still get this music instead of the normal Mount Battle music, but look at that, a giant platform with the word 1 on it. And every time we enter a platform, we have to fight someone. And it seems like these people aren't affiliated with Cypher at all. They're just, here to do the challenge as normal. So we get unique arenas for this, and we fight a guy with a Trapinch and a Numel, so Surf is going to make quick work of them. Get used to this. I think there's actually quite a few ground and rock types here. There's a very, very good reason. A very good reason. But anyway, Sudowoodo's gauge is coming along. I fought some traders in Pyrite Town to purify Sudowoodo and Hitmontop a little bit. So anyway, let's go for Surf, and I get the feeling this might one-shot both of them. We'll see. I didn't quite one-shot the Trapinch, but Numel is quad weak to it, so yeah. Is Numel Fire Ground or just Fire? I'm pretty sure it's Fire Ground now. It's just that it doesn't learn, I think, Earthquake by level up until it evolves. Why is Feraligator's great attack stat being wasted? Wow, the trainers here really like using Sandshrew, which is kind of strange because... Well, Trapinch is gone. But kind of strange because we never actually get a Shadow Sandshrew or Sandslash in this game. But you see it quite often as a Pokemon here. And it's really not going to last long. With Surf not getting its power reduced, yeah, obviously not going to last long. Yeah, one shot, I thought so. Sorry, Sandshrew. That is something that you have to remember, is that in double battles, moves that hit both opponents have their power reduced, but if they're only hitting a single target, they're going to hit with their full power. So, like I said, bear that in mind. It's useful to know in situations like that. Master Dakim, okay, I guess that guy isn't affiliated with Cypher. We've heard the name Dakim before, from Scrub earlier. So now it's time for Battle 2. I think you see what the general idea here is. But it's not about straight wins, like I said before. You actually can go back and heal whenever you want. Even though that's normally not how this place works. Oh look, more ground types! Once again, there's a pretty big running theme here. This is why I brought Feraligator. If you didn't pick Croconaw, Quagsire is your best option here. Yeah, Mantine doesn't have Surf, so I guess even though Mantine has a higher special attack stat, well, I guess it depends. Mantine will be hitting single targets harder, but really I feel like Feraligator is the best option to use here. Oh, Swinub is just kind of gone. Swinub is a Pokemon that you don't normally see in Hoenn, so that might that might imply something. Larvitar, again another Pokemon you don't usually see in Hoenn, but it's a Pokemon that I really, really wish existed here. Aha, Boltoy! Not existed, but I really wish you got a Shadow of at this point. Oh, your Cosmic Power didn't help you at all. I was about to say your Cosmic Power is not going to be as annoying as it was the last time I fought you, but it just went down immediately. And we just have a Larvitar here. Larvitar is, I'm pretty sure, rock ground, so it is double weak to this. Yeah, the term, I don't know, it's double weak, quad weak, 4 times weak. I guess double weak is a bit of a misnomer because it's actually doing 4 times damage, not 2 times. But I always used to use the term double weak for weaknesses that... To clarify, Larvitar is rock ground, so both of those types are weak to water, so you get 4 times damage on it. I used to use the term double weakness, or double super effective. There's actually no official term for it. The game doesn't differentiate it from, oh hey, it's a rider. Oh, well, you're probably going to go down just as quickly too, especially if you use rock or ground types. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Well, the levels are getting a little higher, I'll give them that, but you're still going to go down pretty quickly. So yeah, like I said, Surf makes quick work of this place. That's not normally how Mount Battle works, but here all the trainers have decided to just, it's kind of weird. Normally Cypher trainers have a pretty good variety of Pokemon. I mean, the ones back in the Pyrite building, or the Pyrite Build, were actually more challenging than these ones in some ways, simply because they didn't all just use the same types like this. You're being even easier than the earlier opponents. Of course, the difficulty is going to change once we get to the boss of this area, who is definitely a big step up. Another Numel, wow! So this is probably illustrating a good point as to why a lot of people like Cypher, is that usually they have a pretty good variety of Pokemon they're using. Also, Numel coming straight in thanks to 3rd gen battle mechanics and immediately taking the Shadow Rush without getting a chance to move. So that's another way that's, kind of want to say PP for Surf in a way, but it's another way that... I explained that at the start of the playthrough, but it's something that you do need to pay attention to, especially for this upcoming boss fight. Because he likes to spam a certain move, and if his Shadow Pokemon comes in at exactly the wrong time, things can... No kidding! Yeah, never has a trainer's defeat quote been more apt. You're even easier than the last two, and that's really sad. So, yeah, number 4, another rider. Let's see how we're doing. Wonder if I should let some other Pokemon handle these. Sudowoodo's coming along, unfortunately. Yeah, Sudowoodo gets a lot better once it regains Rock Slide. A lot better. But until then, it has to stick with Shadow Rush, which isn't bad, really. Just kind of checking out my experience and things like that. Jumpluff is alright against certain rock ground types, but against the Numels, it's not going to be so good. Also, if I actually do use Jumpluff here, I'll be able to point out something. I kind of want to use Feraligatr a lot, because I want Feraligatr to have as much experience as... Wow, okay then. That's actually kind of disturbing. But anyway, Ridden, not Raiden or anything. Ridden! That's kind of a weird name. Anyway, Pineco and Boltoy. You're actually not using a ground type for once. That's, well, I mean, you're using only 1 ground type, not 2. That's at least a step up. But anyway, something that I need to point out about Jumpluff that a lot of people have mentioned to me, and yes, I did notice, but I didn't really feel the need to comment on back then. But if you look closely at Jumpluff's Shadow, its spore puff things make square shadows, even though they're round. Probably just a limitation of the engine, I guess. Okay, critically hitting the Pineco is kind of, getting rid of, I don't really know where I was going with that, but, that cuts the knot, I guess? I guess takes care of the problem quickly. Houndour! Hey, it's a Pokemon that's not a ground type. However, it's still weak to water, so not really that much of an improvement, I'm sorry. But as you'll notice, the levels are getting higher. Levels do jump up quite often in Colosseum. Yeah, I've just noticed that Jumpluff really doesn't have much to do, and even if I do Sleep Powder Houndour, it's probably going to have Early Bird. Early Bird works on that mechanic of Sleep's number of turns being calculated immediately on the Pokemon falling asleep. What Early Bird does is it halves that number. So if sleep here was calculated as lasting for 4 turns, Houndour would only stay asleep for 2. That is assuming that it actually does. Wow! Froghead is just going in, isn't he? That's pretty impressive. I'm gonna need that going forward. Unfortunately, Boltoy is still underground. Graveler, once again, a Pokemon that will fall easily to Surf. It is kind of weird, just because of the lack of variety in types they're using. This area is actually easier than many of the earlier ones, which is pretty weird. One thing that I was having a discussion with in the comment section with someone earlier when it came to difficulty in Pokemon games, and it led me to think something. I always feel like the best way to make trainers in Pokemon games more challenging is not to just increase their levels, because really all that does is encourages the player to grind more, and honestly, level advantage can be easily, well not easily, but it can be beaten by good strategy and using the right types. I often take on many of the bosses in this game at like 10 levels below them and still capable of winning, but I feel like the best way to make difficulty in Pokemon games is to give opponents better Pokemon and better movesets. Like, smarter AI if you can actually do that. Isn't that what Misty said when Ash got turned to stone back in the first Pokemon movie? Can't remember that. But, yeah, that's what I've always felt, and that's why I liked Challenge Mode in Black and White too. Not so much for the increased levels, but more just for the fact that, long way, we're only halfway there. This is Battle 5. Are you a lock-on trainer? Because a lot of trainers who like to spam lock-on use quotes like that. But anyway, like I was saying, the thing that I really liked about Challenge Mode was the better movesets, like things like Bergsley Vanny having Aerial Ace, or yeah, Roxy, that's her name. Roxy's having a Grimer with Mud Slap to deter using Magnemite, which normally completely wrecks her team. So, oh hey, perfect target for Jumpluff here. Feraligatr and Jumpluff actually make a pretty decent team at this point. But yeah, I did like how Challenge Mode worked in that regard, and I like how Sun and Moon is giving most of the trainers better movesets and making the Elite Four have 5 Pokemon again. Although personally, I felt that Black and White's Elite Four were pretty decently tough even with only having 4 Pokemon, but that's another issue entirely. Another Trapinch, they really liked them here. And that's 2, actually. For some reason, I was just thinking, wait a minute, did that attack just hit that Trapinch twice? And then I was like, oh, right, there's 2 Trapinches. Got a bit distracted talking about other things. And here's Sandstorm, so we have to watch the animation of every Pokemon getting hit and then moving back into their place every turn, except for the Trapinches, because they're immune to it, obviously. But yeah, Trapinch obviously doesn't have Sand Veil. It's got Hyper Cutter or Arena Trap. Obviously, Arena Trap is the one that you see the most often, and is the one that's the most annoying by far. It's like, whenever you run into wild Trapinches, you always want to see them have Hyper Cutter, because it's the only way you can run from them. Well, at least you got more Pokemon, that's something. Lileep is an interesting Pokemon too, because Rock Grass affords it a pretty decent amount of, well, not so much resistances, but it does mean that a lot of the moves that are normally good against either of those types, actually, are kind of invalidated, except it's still weak to Ice. And, actually, wait, no, I don't think it's weak to, yeah, Grass or resistant ground. You know, that was the thing, in an earlier video, I, for some reason, thought that Grass resisted fighting. It's a mistake that I often make, and whenever I do, I have to remind myself Shiftry exists, and Shiftry is very much still weak to fighting. Anyway, let's go ahead and put you to sleep, and Surf is going to be doing more now that you're alone. But I keep mistaking that it's Grass being resistant to ground is that thing. And also, here's another resistance that often, well, not so much confuses me, because I tend to naturally take it into account, but it's something that I feel like, what is the justification for it? Bug-resisting ground. And I know that that's true, because Scizor is not weak to Earthquake, but I don't know what really made them decide to make bug-resistant to ground. You know, on the subject of random things in Pokemon, resistance-wise and things like that, that I feel kind of illogical, back in Generation 1, Poison was super effective against Bug, and I really wish they kept that. Because, 1, it would have made Poison more useful, giving it more things to be effective against, and 2, it makes sense, you know, pesticides. Of course, that would have given Parasect, well, it already had it back in Gen 1, but it'd give Parasect even more 4 times weaknesses. Oh, poor Parasect. I mean, Parasect, in a lot of ways, is actually a pretty decent Pokemon. It's good in Trick Room, it has Rage Powder, it has Spore. Well, I mean, it's good in formats where Amoonguss isn't allowed, but, yeah. Because Amoonguss is... Your hands are actually pretty big, I just realized. But Amoonguss kind of outclasses it, but still. Parasect has a lot of good things going for it, but its typing is just horrendous, especially with the Dry Skin ability, making it, giving it the dubious honor of being the only Pokemon to have a 5 times weakness. Meaning that it's never going to survive fire moves at all, even an Ember will probably want to KO it. Hey, it's kind of funny that a street performer is actually higher ranked than all of the others. So, yeah, more trainers. I guess I could take this time to talk a little bit about how Mount Battle works, because we're getting a bit of a sneak preview of it here. So, Mount Battle, normally, and I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, so... Oh, hey, you're not actually using ground types, that's interesting. But you are using Spinda, so that's still a step down. Getting a bit ahead of myself, but after we've dealt with Cypher, we will be able to take on the Mount Battle Challenge. Mount Battle consists of 100 trainers, but it is broken up into 10 areas, each with 10 trainers, and you do get a chance to save and leave between each area. So you don't have to do the whole thing at once, and that's very, very, very good. Very good. If you had to do the whole thing at once, this would be horrifying. But Mount Battle is generally the main place you'll be training in this game. And the earlier areas are actually very, very, very easy. They're well beyond us at this point in the game, but once again, I'll get to that later. Wow, Kadabra is actually pretty impressive. Espeon and Umbreon are much better suited for this fight, though. Espeon and Umbreon together make a pretty good team taking this one on. But anyway, so we'll be going through 10 areas of 10 trainers. Now, I do end up doing the majority of Mount Battle, and I've recorded up to areas 1 to 9 as of this point, because it was the best area for training throughout most of the game. Okay, there's Future Sight. I might talk about that a bit later, because it has some interesting mechanics in this generation that change later. Nice crit there. That probably would have been a 1 KO of those. Also, Kadabra's fainting animation is amazing. Hands down, one of the best fainting animations in this game by far. It's a shame that Alakazam doesn't have anything similar, but Kadabra's is just great. But anyway, Mount Battle. So, how I'm going to deal with those, I probably won't be showing the whole things, but there's 2 options. Either I do show the whole things, but have them sped up and non-commentated. Please confuse, that'd be no. Or, I only show the area leaders, who are the 10th trainers in each area, and do commentate them. And that's the option that I probably am leaning towards, because I'll just give a sneak preview. After the next part of this, I do go into Mount Battle and basically go through all the areas 1 to 5. Now, obviously, I'm not going to be showing all of that before we continue the main story, because that would just be torture. But I am considering cutting just the area leaders into one video and showing all of them together. And I'll give you a good idea of just, you know, what I did throughout each area, how high my levels are. Weak. That might be one of the most bizarre names I've seen so far, and that's really saying something. Graveler and Sandslash, well, they're stronger Pokemon, but they're still ground types, so we're back to that. So anyway, that's a bit of a sneak preview of how I'll be handling Mount Battle, but we'll probably talk about that later, because for now, we're just dealing with some Cypher enemies. Now, normally in Mount Battle, you're not able to save or go back to heal until after each area. At the end of each area, you get a warp back to the... Why am I still using Espeon and Umbreon? I don't know. Probably was wanting to get them a few levels more, but I really should have switched here, because Feraligatr would just destroy this. Did I double target that Graveler? Please tell me I double targeted that Graveler. Thank you. Was that a KO? It looks like there's a tiny sliver of red still left. Yep, it was not a KO. But you flinched anyway, so it's fine. And because Espeon's the fastest on the field, I'm forced to target Graveler, otherwise Espeon will be wasting its turn, unless I go for Helping Hand, which I might end up... Or just go for Reflect, yeah. Anyway, I meant, like, knowing the speed of everything on the field is good when you're dealing with things like that Sand Slash, because we need to know when it comes up. And, oh, hey, Brava! That's a pretty cool Pokemon that I like, and for the longest time I didn't know that it evolved from Trapinch. But yeah, anyway, like I was saying, so Mount Battle, sneak preview, guy using ground types. It's a little bit late, but I guess I could try and talk a little bit about how Future Sight works. In this generation, Future Sight deals typeless damage, so I don't think it's even powered up by same type attack bonus either. Of course, this trainer loves Dig. And I was kind of psychic in predicting which of his Pokemon would use Dig. Of course, now they've both gone under. And that's bad. Espeon is now forced into hitting nothing, because they're both underground and it's faster than both of them. I'm gonna have to... I don't think Umbreon will be able to hit either of them too, unless I go for that Vibrava and hope that maybe it's faster than Umbreon. Guess that's what I end up going for. But yeah, Future Sight, thankfully it is faster than Umbreon. And they do like targeting Espeon's lower defense stat, which is, I guess, kind of impressive of their AI. But anyway, Future Sight. So, typeless damage, doesn't get same attack bonus. That means that it does hit Shedinja, which is kind of funny. There's actually a Battle CD in XD revolving around abusing that fact. Oh, I'm sorry, Espeon. Or Soul, should I say? I should use your actual name now. Guess get a little bit of Heartgate on Sudowoodo up. And also... Oh, yeah, no, that's it. I was just thinking, I knew that it had some interesting, unique property in this generation, and it just came to me. So, in this generation, how Future Sight works is, it calculates all of its damage based on what's currently in the battle. So, let's say the opponent has no special defense boosts, but you use Future Sight and they don't have any special defense boosts. They then use Calm Mind 2 times and Future Sight hits them on the next turn. Future Sight actually will calculate its damage as if those Calm Minds weren't there, because it calculates its damage on the turn it's used based on what's currently happening then, as opposed to the current state of the battle on the turn that it hits. This also applies to if a Pokemon switches. What that means is that if, say, they've got, like, okay, what's, like, one of the lowest special defense stats in the game? Okay, so let's say they've got a Kavana out, which has terrible special defense, and you use Future Sight. They switch the Kavana to a Blissey, which has enormous special defense, and Future Sight hits the Blissey. In Generation 3, Future Sight will have had its damage calculated based on the Pokemon that was out at the turn that was used, which was the Kavana, which means Blissey is suddenly going to take massive damage. This made Future Sight actually, well, I mean, it was never a particularly competitive move, but it was kind of interesting the way you could abuse it sometimes, and if you were lucky, you could catch a Blissey with it occasionally. Now, in later generations, I don't think it works that way. I know that starting with, I think, Gen 5, it worked off of, it was considered a Psychic-type move as normal, so it gained same type attack bonus, and I think it calculated defense stats differently as well. I know that Beat Up radically changed in how it worked between, I think, starting in Gen 5. Thankfully, it no longer reveals your entire team. In earlier generations, Beat Up would list the name of the Pokemon that was doing the attack, so if you ever ran Beat Up on a team, you had to make sure to nickname all of your Pokemon, because otherwise using Beat Up would give away your entire team. Not that Beat Up was particularly useful before. Oh yeah, because back then, Beat Up calculated damage based on your base attack stat, which was very weird. Totally different now, like really, really different. Now it's only really useful for boosting your partner if they have Justified, which is pretty hilarious. Going on a bit of tangents here, but back in a Gen 5 tournament, I got completely demolished by the beat-up Terrakion combo because I was doing research on Smog and looking at all the common threats that would be happening in that tournament, and then that hits me, and I had never read about that strategy at all, and they do that, and I'm like, oh crap, I'm screwed. Anyway, we have Cypher Peons now, so a change of music, which is kind of cool. Going on a few tangents here, but, well, I'm gonna guess this is Mount Battle. Another Houndour. The trainers here seem to like them. And Coughing. Okay, so having both Espeon and... Well, actually, Espeon will be pretty bad against that Houndour. Feraligatr, though, Feraligatr's decent here. Of course, Houndour still survives. But yeah, that was a format that I quite liked. That was the first VGC after Black and White first... okay, that's actually bad because I want to be spamming Surf here. Will-O-Wisp, the move that made coughing and wheezing much more useful. Made them in... Except my Feraligatr has no physical moves, so that's going to be useless to you. Except for just the extra damage. But yeah, that was the VGC after Black and White first came out, and the format was Unova Pokemon only, which was really interesting, and it let a lot of Pokemon that you wouldn't normally use just get a lot of attention, but then everyone used the Whimsicott Terrakion meet-up combo. So yeah, anyway. Coughing and Wheezing are interesting Pokemon. I don't think I've trained up very many Wheezings in my time, but it used to be a really good physical wall. Of course, back when I was younger, I didn't really realize that Burn lowered attack. I think I did like, the game's description of the statuses does say that, but... like in the trainer school. But I never really thought it was that significant. And it turns out it's by far the best part of the move. Of course, now I can use Surf again, and you are going to get completely demolished. Also, there's Fire Spin. Stacking up that residual damage on Feraligatr, but he's got some pretty great HP for this point in the game. Though Umbreon's is a little bit better. Fire Spin was a move that was a lot better back in Gen 1, and they seem to know it too, because many Fire types learned that as the last move in their learn set, so they kind of realized just how powerful that was back then. But now, not so much. Also, I guess I should mention that if a Pokemon becomes the last Pokemon on the field mid-surf, they don't suddenly take extra damage from it. They have to be the last Pokemon on the field when the move is used. Okay, now this situation is really good for Umbreon. It's kind of funny, these battles are a combination of... the battle is either really good for water types or really good for the Espeon Umbreon team. Okay, Feraligatr growing to level 35 is great here, because I need you to be as strong as possible before the boss of this area. I was about to say that I should switch you out, but I can't do that. Except, actually, wait, I can now, because I've lost the Fire Spin now that Houndour is gone. But this Curlier will probably... yeah, it's gone. Kind of sad that Umbreon outsped it. It's probably doing some kind of salute the sun thing there. And you gave it a lot of money, surprisingly. So, you were number... okay, you were number 8. Now, is the next one the... I think 9 is... okay, yeah, so 9 is another Cyclopedon. 10 is the final opponent here, and 10 is the boss of this area. I'm going to go back and heal now. Okay, so I think at this point, I start to prepare for the final fights here. For that, let's see. I definitely want a sleep user. In fact, I'm going to pack 2 sleep users here just because I really, really need them. There is a very, very difficult snag coming up. I'd highly recommend saving before the 10th fight. And I would also very, very highly recommend a water type. You want a surf user. And also, Espeon's Helping Hand is going to come in handy here. But you also want as many status users as possible. You want a lot of Timer Balls. Definitely a lot of Timer Balls. And as strong of a team as you can, because this is going to be one tough fight. So, getting ready for that. Definitely save.